Now to young Latino Americans. They're a generation born to Spanish speakers, but many don't speak fluent Spanish. We took a closer look at the stigma around language and what some are doing to include everyone in the conversation. This is Dr. Jose Medina.
For those of you that don't remember what chisme means, remember it means chisme.
A dual language expert using TikTok to destigmatize Spanglish.
Adios. I don't know what Spanglish speaker needs to hear this today, pero ahí les va. Don't ever apologize for being fabulous.
His page has more than 1 million likes.
Ay, pues mira. So I'm a published researcher, author, all of these things, but it's crazy. Like recently, what people know me for is TikTok, which is just loquísimo para mí that people have connected with the TikToks that I've created.
His videos cover a variety of tough cultural topics in the Latino community. One of the more popular subjects, Yo no sabo kids.
Do you know what you just did? You moved planchando and you moved ironing and you combined them to say planching.
Yo no sabo is a twist on the phrase I don't know and has become a term for kids of Latino parents who have grown up in the United States and cannot speak Spanish fluently.
People often use that yo no sabo label, which is actually really destructive because what we're saying, in fact, is that these students that grew up in the United States but were never afforded an opportunity to strengthen that home language. Instead, they were forced to transition to English. Now we're ridiculing them and saying, oh, well, you don't know how to conjugate saber in Spanish, which is crazy because these students that we so often ridicule bring fabulousness in terms of their linguistic repertoire.
Some Latino children in the U.S. serve as their family's only liaison to American culture. Others have been discouraged from speaking Spanish at all. In 1918, several states made speaking any other language besides English in schools illegal. And these laws weren't repealed until Congress passed the Bilingual Education Act in 1968. But many Latino parents still encouraged their children to only speak English so they could assimilate into American culture.
I think that the reason that we have no sabo kids is because we felt oppression not just in schools, but also at home.
Meet Robert Aguilera. He had never heard of a Yo no sabo kid. Robert grew up in a suburb of Rochester, New York, in a middle to upper class neighborhood. And although his parents, one Cuban and the other Puerto Rican, could speak Spanish, Robert never picked it up.
I think being in the suburban area I grew up in, I think it's just hard to incorporate that. Even if it is at home, it's just even when my parents went outside too, they didn't have many opportunities to speak Spanish.
When did you decide that it was important to learn the language?
I was a senior in college. I had just completely forgotten about Spanish. It just wasn't even on my radar at all. I was just man, I'm so sick of trying to fit in. Either I'm Latino or I'm super American. It's one of the two. And I always felt like people were trying to push me to the side, And I got so frustrated with it. We went to Italy, and I remember the last day we were there, we went to a bar, and there were these two Cuban guys playing guitar. And I remember sitting at the table, and I was man, we're probably the only people of Cuban descent. I wish so bad I could just go up to these people and just start talking to them. And I was man, I gotta learn. I'm about to graduate.
Eventually, he quit his job in California as an industrial designer to live in Puerto Rico. Robert enrolled in Spanish Sin Pena, a program based in California for Latinos wanting to reconnect with their culture and learn Spanish.
So a language, if you know it or not, doesn't make you any more or less than. It is something that I've chosen to learn for myself because of my own personal reasons, but definitely don't judge.
Jackie Rodriguez and Wendy Ramirez are the co-founders of Sin Pena. They want to show Latinos that while not knowing Spanish doesn't make someone any less Latino, it can help speakers advocate for their community.
Not being able to speak Spanish and communicate Spanish and identifying with the Latino culture has created a lot of wounds for a lot of people.
So many of us feel isolated in this. We feel like we might be the only one who gets made fun of at family parties or the only one who doesn't speak perfectly. So when you join this program and you hear other people who share those same stories at work or at school or share the same path as you make that connection and you share that vulnerability.
How difficult was it to learn and catch up?
At the beginning, it was really tough. For the first time I talked with my dad, I was like, it was so choppy. Like I couldn't put together sentences. Like I'm a very organized, structured person. So I kind of had my routine and I just kind of stuck to it. Now I feel really good about my Spanish. I like to tell people I feel like it's like a 7 out of 10.
Why do you think it's important for kids to learn Spanish, especially if they have a Latino background?
Well, the first thing I would say is to be Latino or to be Latinx, you don't have to learn Spanish. I think it's definitely a personal decision. But at the same time, for me, it's just been a Pandora's box is the best way to describe it. It just opens this new world for you. You learn about so much more music, so much more content. That's been the most powerful thing.
Such an important message and conversation that's resonating with so many. Para adelante, mis Latinos.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.